Welcome, Trojan fans. We are playing live from Beauregard High School in Beauregard. Well, I guess it's Opelika, Alabama. Just outside Opelika in Beauregard. Playing the Beauregard Hornets today. The Trojans' overall record so far this year is 20 wins and 8 losses. And we are 4-0 in Area 4 play in classification 5A. This is the second time we've played Beauregard this year. The Trojans are taking their warm-ups. Beauregard just completed their warm-ups. Let me see if I can get the screen lined up a little better for you. We're kind of close quarters here. I can get all the net there for you maybe. Apologize for the basketball goal in the way, but you can at least see all of the Trojans court. You can't get in a position to see both courts. Kind of tight quarters here. Scoreboard shows that we got about four minutes left in warm-ups and prep time before we start the match today. It's plenty hot here today in the gym. At least they have 2 floor fans and 2 vent fans that are blowing towards the court. Again, this is as you can see, this is a low ceiling facility. So we'll see how the ceiling might affect play. I'm sure it's like any other gym that has a low ceiling. You play it live, but it can't hit the ceiling and go over the net. It'll be considered out of bounds. Got the area match with Beauregard today, and then we will host Brew Tech at St. James on Thursday. We got about 2 minutes left on the clock. The Trojans now will be practicing their warm-up serves before the match. Got about 35 seconds left on the clock. I think I overheard Coach Karen Lee say that the Trojans will be the home team starting out this first set. The end of the Trojans practice period. Both teams will get in position to greet each other at the net. Coach Karen Lee giving some last-minute instructions before the start of this first set. This is one of those days where you almost wish we were playing outside. The Trojans are going to start out this first set as the down referee is checking lineups. Kathleen Wright, Emily Olsey, Marilee Kapuya, Carson Ann Crow, Ashley White, and Bailey Williams. Beauregard will be serving to St. James first. Number 5 for Beauregard prepares to serve. Ball comes in, played by Bailey Williams. She gets it to Olsey. Olsey over to Ashley White. Ball's dug up by the Hornets. Free ball to the Trojans, played by Carson Ann Crow. She gets it to Olsey. Over to Marilee Kapuya. Dinked over the block. Tipped over, saved by Carson Ann Crow. Ball's over the net. Hornets set up their offense. Ball goes down on the court. Point for Beauregard. Number 5 again serving the ball over. Played by Marilee Kapuya. Ball saved by Carson Ann Crow. Olsey over to Ashley White. Ball hits the court. 1 point apiece. That's a kill for Ashley White. Emily Poundstone, number 10, comes in for Ashley White and will be serving for the Trojans. She's just outside your screen. Poundstone serves into the net. That's a service error again for the Trojans who struggle on serves. The Hornets now lead the Trojans 2-1. Number 21 for the Hornets serving to St. James. Ball comes in, played by Carson Ann Crow, gets it to Poundstone. Poundstone to Olsey. Dug up by the Hornets. It's a free ball for the Trojans, played by Bailey Williams. She gets it to Poundstone. Olsey hits it into the net. It's an attack error on the Trojans, and the Hornets lead St. James 3-1. Serve comes in. That's an ace. Trojans fall to 4, down to the Hornets 4-1. Not sure. Yeah. I wasn't sure what the referee was calling there because the ball was clearly inbounds. Score is Beauregard 4, St. James 1. Number 21 for Beauregard, serving again. Serve comes in, played by Carson Ann Crow. She gets it to Poundstone. She punches it over. Olsey has a free ball over the net. Mary Lee Capulla plays the overpass, gets it to Poundstone. Kathleen Wright with a kill on the right side. Poundstone to Wright. That's St. James' second point. St. James trails now 4-2. Mary Lee Capulla, number 7, back serving for St. James. Nice hard serve to the back row by Capulla. Hornets set up their offense. Dug up by Kathleen Wright. Poundstone gets it over to Crow. Crow with a kill. Carson Ann Crow with a kill down the left side. Score now, Beauregard 4, St. James 3. Mary Lee Capulla still serving for St. James. Another service error for the Trojans. Side out to the Hornets, and that gives them a 5-3 lead over St. James. Trojans still struggling with the serves. Number 10 for Beauregard, serving the ball over, played by Mary Lee Capulla. She gets to the Poundstone to Olsey. Point for St. James as Beauregard has a net violation called on him. Alan Browning, number 8, comes in for Kathleen Wright and will be serving for the Trojans. Browning with a nice serve, overpass. Oh, that's a lift. Ball never made it to the net. Actually, a nice serve by Alan Browning. That evens the score at 5-5. Browning serving. She floats another one over to the left side. Free ball to St. James. The ball's out of bounds. The Trojans finally take a lead. They lead the Hornets 6-5. Alan Browning still serving for the Trojans. She pushes a floater over, played by the front row. The ball's out. Attack error by the Hornets and a point for St. James. St. James leading Beauregard now 7-5. Browning floats another one into the back row. They set up their attack. The ball's out. Another attack error by the Hornets gives St. James an 8-5 lead. Browning floats another floater in there to the middle of the defense of the Hornets. They punch the ball over. It's dug up by Alan Browning. She gets to the Poundstone over to Carson Ann Crow. That's a kill down the left sideline for Carson Ann Crow. Point for St. James. St. James leading now 9-5. And the Hornets coach calls a timeout. St. James huddles up, prepares to take the court. The Trojans take the court. Emily Olsey, Bailey Williams, Carson Ann Crow, Emily Poundstone, Mary Lee Capulla, and Alan Browning on the court for the Trojans. Browning continuing to float Right in our ear. Float a serve over the net. Trojans prepare to serve. Allen floats another one over. Looks like an overpass played by Olsey. She gets to the Poundstone. Carson Ann Crow. Ball goes into the net. Side out to Beauregard with St. James leading 9-6. Number 32 for Beauregard serving. The ball hits the net. Nice hustle. What do we got? 4 hits on St. James. That's what I thought. There's a nice play by Carson Crow and Emily Poundstone to try to get the ball back over. That was a nice serve by number 32. Point for Beauregard with St. James leading now only by 2, 9-7. Beauregard serves the ball in, played by Marilee Capulia to Poundstone. Back sets to Carson Crow in the middle. It's wide open. That's another kill for Carson Crow. That gives St. James a side out and a 10-7 lead with Emily Olsey serving for the Trojans as Ashley White, number 18, comes in for Poundstone. Olsey floats one into the middle of the back row. Overpass. Olsey gets the ball to Ashley White. The ball goes out of bounds. Side out and a point for Beauregard with St. James leading by 2, 10-8. Number 8 for Beauregard serving to the Trojans. Ball comes in, played by Browning. She gets it to Olsey. Olsey to Carson Ann Crow. Ball rolls over the net. Free ball to St. James, played by Carson Ann Crow. She gets the ball to Emily Olsey to Ashley White. Ball's down. That's a kill for Ashley White. Side out to St. James, and they take 11-8 lead. Got a 3-point lead now with number 13, Carson Ann Crow, back serving for the Trojans. Carson Ann gets the ball in and serve. That was almost an ace. The Hornets couldn't get the ball back over the net. That was a great serve by Carson Ann. Get the ball back in the back row. St. James now with a 4-point lead, 12-8 over the Hornets. Carson Ann floats another one in. That's an ace. Ace for Carson Ann Crow. She floated that one in there, and the Beauregard defender could barely get to it. She hit the ball out of bounds. St. James with a 13-8 lead now. Carson Ann floats another one into the back right. Beauregard sets up their attack. Roll over to Carson Ann Crow. She gets it to Olsey. Olsey over to Marilee Capulia. Nice attack. The Hornets get the ball back over. Free ball to St. James. Allen Browning gets it to Olsey. Olsey to White. It's wide open down the right side. That's a kill for Ashley White. 14-8 is the lead now for the Trojans. Carson Ann floats another one into the back row. That's another ace. Ace for Carson Ann Crow, and that gives St. James a 15-8 lead. That ball's knuckling. Carson Ann floats another one in there to the middle of the back row. The Hornets set up their offense. Allen Browning gets it to Olsey. Olsey to Marilee Capulia, and that's a kill for Capulia, her first kill of the match. Nice set and kill for the Trojans. Score now is St. James 16, Beauregard 8. Carson Ann floats another one in. It's barely out of bounds. Side out and the point for Beauregard. St. James with a 16-9 lead. Number 18, the libero for Beauregard, back serving to the Trojans. Hits the net. Allen Browning comes in and gets it up. She gets it to Olsey. Couldn't get the set, the timing to Ashley White. That's a point for Beauregard. St. James with a 16-10 lead now. Serve coming into St. James. Played by Allen Browning. She gets it to Olsey. Olsey to Bailey Williams. It rolls down the net and out of bounds. Ball could have fell in bounds, but it didn't. St. James with a 16-11 lead now. Serve comes in, played by Carson Ann Crow. Ball goes into the net, point for Beauregard. St. James now with a 4-point lead, 16-12. Trojans need to cut the water off here. And a service error by the Beauregard server will do that for us. That's a service error by Beauregard, which giving St. James a side out in a 17-12 lead as Bailey Williams goes back to serve for the Trojans. She floats one into the back right. Got a free ball to St. James, played by Carson Crow. She gets it to Emily Olsey. Olsey to Marilee Kapuya. Ball goes out of bounds. Side out and a point for Beauregard. St. James now holding on to only a 4-point lead, 17-13. Number 5 for Beauregard serving to the Trojans. Marilee Kapuya gets it to Emily Olsey. Olsey over to Ashley White. Ball's down. That's a kill for Ashley White. That's her 4th kill. Point and a side out for St. James. St. James leading Beauregard now 18-13 as Emily Poundstone, number 10, comes in for Ashley White and will be serving for the Trojans. Poundstone floats it into the back right corner, and that's an ace. That's Poundstone's first ace of the set, and that gives St. James a 19-13 lead. Poundstone ready to serve. She floats another one into the back right corner. The Hornets set up their offense. Ball's out of bounds. That's an attack error by the Hornets. That gives St. James their 20th point, and the Trojans lead Beauregard 20-13. Poundstone floats one into the back left corner, and it's called out of bounds by the Beauregard line judge, and that's a side out for Beauregard. And St. James with a 6-point lead now, 20-14. As number 21 for Beauregard goes back to serve. She floats one in, played by Emily Olsey. She gets it to Poundstone, to Kathleen Wright in the middle. That's a kill for Kathleen Wright. That's her 2nd kill. Olsey to Wright. That gives St. James a side out, and St. James leading Beauregard now 21-14. Beauregard calls a timeout on the court. Again, St. James leading 21-14. Trojans break huddle. They'll take the court with Kathleen Wright, Emily Olsey, Carson Crow, Emily Poundstone, Bailey Williams, and Marilee Kapuya. Marilee Kapuya will be serving for the Trojans. Ball's whistled in. Nice serve to the middle of the back row. The Hornets set up their offense. Ball's out of bounds. That's an attack error by the Hornets, giving St. James a 22-14 lead. Kapuya back serving, number 7, back serving for the Trojans. Ball goes into the back right corner, and it's long. That's a service error by the Trojans. That's a side out, and that gives Beauregard their 15th point, but the Trojans holding on to a 22-15 lead. Number 10 for Beauregard, back serving to the Trojans. Serve comes in, played by Bailey Williams. She gets it to Poundstone. Poundstone sets up Carson Crow. That's a kill for Carson Crow down the left side line. Poundstone to Crow. St. James with a side out, and they lead 23-15. Alan Browning, number 8, comes in for Kathleen Wright and will be serving for the Trojans. She floats one into the middle of the defense. Brown plays the overpass, gets it to Poundstone to Carson Crow. That's another kill for Carson Crow. That's her 5th kill. St. James at set point now with a 24-15 lead over the Hornets. Alan Browning set up to serve for the Trojans. She floats one into the left side of the defense. The Hornets set up their offense. The setter called for a double touch on the set, and St. James will take the first set from Beauregard, 25-15. The Trojans started in the hole, but they came out, got a lead at 6-5, and never really looked back. This again is an area match, and it's a best three sets out of 5, with the 5th set being a play into 15. We got 2 minutes on the clock before according to the score clock, before the next set will start. Again, the Trojans take the first set, 25-15. The Trojans move over in front of the 4-fan for their timeout. I don't have a 4-fan pointed to me up here in the stands. We got 1 minute left before the start of the second set. Trojans break huddle. I think St. James will be serving to Beauregard this second set. The Trojans will start this second set off with Kathleen Wright, Carson Ann Crow, Emily Olsey, Marilee Kapuya, Emily Poundstone, and Bailey Williams. The down ref checking lineups for both squads. She's finished checking Beauregard's lineup. She's checking St. James' lineup now. Emily Poundstone, number 10, will be back serving for the Trojans. Ball will be whistled in here shortly. Both teams ready. Ball's whistled in. Poundstone serving the ball back in. Played to with the back of the middle. They set up their defense. Marilee Kapuya gets it to Poundstone. Poundstone back to Kathleen Wright. That's a touch and a kill by Kathleen Wright. That's her 3rd kill. St. James will take the first point of the second set and lead 1-0. Again, Poundstone back serving for the Trojans. She floats it into the middle of the back row, pushed it into the net. The Hornets try to get it up. That's an ace for Poundstone. That's her 2nd of the match today. Point for St. James, and they take a 2-0 lead in the second set. Poundstone floats another one back into the middle of the back row. Into the net. That's another ace for Poundstone. That's 3 aces for her for the day. I like it. 3-0, St. James. She floats another one into the same spot in the back row, and it's bouncing around up in the up in the rafters. That's another ace for Poundstone. That's 3 in a row. St. James with a 4-0 lead in this second set. Come on, Emily, keep it going. She floats another one into the left side now. She tries the left side. Free ball to the Trojans, played by Carson Ann Crow. She pushes it to Poundstone. Poundstone back to Olsey with a slide. The Hornets is an overpass played by Marilee Capulla to Poundstone. Back to Capulla, off the block, and the Hornets get the ball up, set up their offense. Ball is hit into the net. That's an attack error by the Hornets and a point for St. James. St. James on a roll now, leading 5-0. Poundstone serving for St. James. Serves it into the back left corner. Roll over the net by the Beauregard attacker. Marilee Capulla plays off. Poundstone set. Beauregard sets up their offense. They roll the ball over, played by Kathleen Wright. Poundstone hits the ball over the net. That was a double hit that didn't get called. Bailey Williams dives in and saves it for the Trojans. Kathleen Wright double hits it over, saved by Carson Ann Crow from Poundstone. Marilee Capulla gets a free ball over the net. The Hornets set up, push it over to Carson Ann Crow. To Poundstone, back to Olsey in the middle. The ball's hitting the net. That's an attack error by the Trojans. That gives Beauregard a side out in their first point. The Trojans leading the Hornets now 5-1. Number 5 for Beauregard, preparing to serve to the Trojans. Serve comes in, played by Emily Olsey. It's an overpass over the net. Hornets set up their offense. Ball's hitting to the net. That's an attack error by Beauregard. Point for St. James and a side out. Marilee Capulla, number 7, will go back and serve for the Trojans as they have a 6-1 lead over the Hornets. Capulla floats one into the back right. Roll over the net, played by Poundstone. Carson Ann Crow gets the ball over the net for the Trojans. The ball's in. The Hornet attacker hit the ball into the back left corner of the Trojan defense, and they let it go and let it hit the court. That's a side out to the Hornets, with St. James holding on to a 6-2 lead. Number 21 for Beauregard, serving to the Trojans. Ball comes in. It's a short serve played by Carson Ann Crow. Gets it to Poundstone, back to Kathleen Wright on the right side. Beauregard sets up their attack. Ball's tipped, dug up nicely by Bailey Williams. She gets it to Poundstone to Crow. Overpass, punched up by Olsey. Olsey back over to Crow. Oh, that's candy. Nice play by the Trojans, getting it over to Carson Ann Crow, who hit a wide open middle shot. Point for St. James, and they're leading the Hornets now 7-2. Lucy Edwards, number 3, comes in to serve for the Trojans. She serves it into the middle of the back row. That ball's out, played by the Trojans. Gets it over to Poundstone. The ball's hitting to the net. Side out for Beauregard. St. James now holding on to a 4-point lead, 7-3. Trojans a little out of sync on that last play. They got to get it back together. Number 10 for the Hornets, serving to the Trojans. She serves it over, played by Marilee Capulla. She gets it to Poundstone. Poundstone to Crow. Tipped at the net. This will be a free ball for the Trojans, played up by Olsey. Olsey back to Poundstone. She set it up to Crow. Carson Ann tips it up to Poundstone. She back sets to Bailey Williams. That's a kill for Bailey Williams. It's wide open. Poundstone back set it to Bailey. She knocked it down. Court was wide open. That's a side out for the Trojans. They now lead Beauregard 8-3 with Emily Olsey, number 16, back serving for the Trojans. Olsey floats one into the back row. That's going to be a nice play by Beauregard. They saved it from being an ace, but then their attacker hit it out of bounds. Point for St. James. St. James leads now 9-3. Olsey still serving for the Trojans. Olsey comes in and floats one into the middle of the back row of the Hornets. They set up their attack. Ball's tipped at the net, played by Lucy Edwards. She gets it to Olsey. Olsey over to Crow. Hits the net, and the Hornets dig it up. Overpass, played by Carson Ann Crow. She gets it to Olsey. The ball's out of bounds. It was blocked, but the ball goes out of bounds. Point to St. James. Very well played ball. Very well good played volley there by the Trojans, who now take a 10-3 lead. Olsey floats it back in, tip to the front row. Free ball to the Trojans, played by Marilee Capulia. She gets it to Emily Olsey. Back sets to Ashley White. Ball's out. It looked like it might have been tipped. That's a side out and a point for the Hornets, with St. James holding on to a 6-point lead. The score, St. James 10, Beauregard 4. Number 32 for Beauregard, serving to St. James. Ball comes in. Lucy Edwards hustles in and digs the ball up. Olsey hits it over to Ashley White on the left side. Oh, Ashley White, they had an overpass and Ashley White nailed it down on the court. That's a kill for Ashley White. That's her 5th kill of the match. St. James with an 11-4 lead as the Beauregard coach calls a timeout. Again, the score on the court with the timeout. St. James 11, Beauregard 4. Hornets take the court, and so do the Trojans. Carson Ann Crow, number 13, back serving for St. James. She floats one into the back right. Overpass played by Olsey. She gets it to Bailey Williams to Ashley White. That's a kill for Ashley White. She hit it in the middle of the Hornet defense, and it wasn't there. Nice kill by Ashley White. They give St. James a 12-4 lead. Carson Ann Crow continues to serve for the Trojans. She floats one into the back right corner. The Hornets are hustling. Roll played by Bailey Williams. Marilee Capulia, great save. Bailey Williams pushes it up to Olsey. Olsey pushes it to Ashley White. That's another kill for Ashley White. That's her 7th kill of the match. Hit it where they ain't. St. James takes a 13-4 lead, with Crow continuing to serve for the Trojans. She floats one into the back right corner. Another overpass played by Bailey Williams. She gets it to Olsey. Capulia gets, they're going to call 4 hits on the Trojans. I thought that might be the case, but I didn't know. That's a side out and a point for the Hornets, with St. James leading Beauregard now 13-5. As number 8 for Beauregard goes back to serve to the Trojans. Ball's floated out of bounds. That's a service error by Beauregard, giving St. James a side out and a point. St. James leading now 14-5 as Kathleen Wright comes in for Lucy Edwards to the front row as Bailey Williams serving for the Trojans. She shoots it into the right corner. The Hornets set up their attack. Played by Carson Crow. She gets it to Olsey. Back to Marilee Capulia. Ball's hit into the net and a point for Beauregard. Point for Beauregard, and St. James holding on to an 8-point lead now, 14-6. As number 18, the libero for the Hornets, prepares to serve to the Trojans. She floats one in. Played by Carson Crow. Gets it to Olsey to Ashley White. Off the block and out of bounds. That's another kill for Ashley White. That's her 8th kill. Point for St. James. Side out. And the score on the court, St. James 15, Beauregard 6, as Emily Poundstone comes in for Ashley White and serving for St. James. Poundstone floats one into the back right corner. And the Hornet attacker hits the ball into the net, giving St. James another point. That's a 10-point lead now for the Trojans, 16-6 over the Hornets. Poundstone serving for the Trojans. She pushes it back to the middle of the back row. Overpass, and Olsey was there, but the ball hit the net and went down. Point for St. James. The Trojans now leading the Hornets 17-6. Poundstone floats another one down the right line. Overpass, Olsey's there. She picks it up. Point for St. James. The setter jumped up over the net. The up ref caught, made the play, and that's a point for St. James. Mary Julian Setzer, number 1, comes in for Kathleen Wright on the front row. The score is 18-6. Poundstone serving for the Trojans. She hits it into the middle of the back row. The Hornets set up their attack, tipped at the net. Setzer gets it to Poundstone. Carson Ann Crow rolls it over the net. The Hornets set up their attack. Roll played by Bailey Williams. She gets it to Poundstone. Poundstone to Carson Ann Crow, tipped at the net. The Hornets set up their attack. Ball played by Bailey Williams. She gets it to Poundstone. Back sets to Setzer. That's an attack dug up by the Hornets. They set up their attack. Point for St. James. Caught a double hit on the Beauregard attacker. St. James now with a 19-6 lead. Poundstone continues to serve for the Trojans. She floats one into the middle of the back row, off the backboard and out of bounds. That's Emily Poundstone's 5th ace of the match, and the Trojans take a 20-6 lead. Ball almost went in the hole. Poundstone floats another one into the right line. That's an overpass played by Marilee Capulia. She gets it to Poundstone, back to Capulia, hits the net and rolls over. That's Marilee Capulia's 2nd kill of the match, and gives St. James a 21-6 lead. Poundstone still serving for the Trojans. Doggone it. Service error gives Beauregard a side out, and their 7th point as St. James has a 21-7 lead over the Hornets. Ellie Streeton, number 17, comes in for Marilee Capulia on the front row. Number 5 for the Hornets prepares to serve for the Trojans. Ball comes in, played by Emily Olsey. She gets it to Poundstone, back to Olsey. Shot down the left line, dug up by the Hornets. We got a free ball coming over to St. James, played by Bailey Williams. She gets it to Poundstone to Olsey. She pounds it off the libero and out of bounds. That's a kill for Emily Olsey. That's her first kill. Point for St. James. That's a side out. St. James with a 22-7 lead. Ellie Streeton, number 17, serving for the Trojans. Service error by the Trojans gives Beauregard a side out, and their 8th point, with St. James holding on to a 22-8 lead over the Hornets. Number 21 for Beauregard, serving to St. James. Ball's floated in, played by Bailey Williams. She gets it to Poundstone, Poundstone to Olsey. She pounds it off the defender and out of bounds. That's Emily Olsey's 2nd kill of the match, and that gives St. James a 23-8 lead. Lucy Edwards, number 3, comes in for Mary Julian Setzer and will be serving for the Trojans. Edwards floats one to the left corner. The Hornets set up their attack. They're pushed over the net, played by Poundstone. Edwards hustles in and gets it over to Carson Ann Crow. Ball's down. That's a kill for Carson Ann Crow. That's her 7th kill. St. James at set point now in this 2nd set. The score, St. James 24, Beauregard 8. Edwards floats it into the back left corner. The Hornets set up their offense, tipped up, played by Carson Ann Crow, gets it to Poundstone, back to Bailey Williams, hit into the net, and a point for Beauregard, with St. James still at set point now. The score, St. James 24, Beauregard 9. Number 10 for Beauregard goes back to serve to the Trojans. She floats one in, played by Lucy Edwards. She gets it to Poundstone, Poundstone to Emily Olsey. She rolls it over the net and down. That's a kill for Olsey. That's her 3rd kill of the match, and that's the 2nd set. St. James takes the 2nd set over Beauregard, 25-9. We got a 3-minute intermission until the next set. Again, this match is a best 3 out of 5. St. James took the first set 25-15 and just finished the 2nd set 25-9. I'll give you some unofficial numbers right now since we got a minute and a half left. Kathleen Wright has 3 kills. Marilee Capulla has 2 kills. Emily Poundstone has 5 aces and 12 assists after 2 sets. Carson Ann Crow has 7 kills and 2 aces. Bailey Williams has 1 kill. Emily Olsey has 3 kills. Ashley White has 8 kills. And Emily Olsey has 9 assists. That's after 2 sets. Second set will begin in about a minute. We got 20 seconds on the clock before the horn sounds. Whistle blows at 10 seconds. And there's your horn. Right in our ear. The Trojans take the court first. The Trojans will start with Ashley White, Ellie Streeton, Kathleen Wright, Emily Olsey, Carson Ann Crow, and Bailey Williams. The Hornets will be serving to St. James in this third set. The Hornets take the court. The down referee has already checked the St. James lineup. Ball's rolled in, and we're about to start the third set. Number 5 for Beauregard, serving to St. James, played by Ellie Streeton. Olsey hustles and gets the ball over. Carson Ann Crow punches it over the net. The Hornets set up they got a free ball to St. James, played by Carson Ann Crow. Gets it to Olsey and then over to Ellie Streeton. The ball is hit out of bounds on the back row. And that's a point for Beauregard, and they take an early 1-0 lead. Number 5 serving for the Hornets. Serve comes in, played by Carson Crow. She gets the ball to Olsey, over to Ashley White. Rolls it over the net and down. That's another kill for Ashley White. That's her 9th of the match. Point for St. James, and that's a side out. And they'll even the score at 1 as Emily Poundstone, number 10, comes in for Ashley White, and Poundstone will be serving for St. James. She floats one into the back right corner and out of bounds for another ace. That's her 6th ace of the day, and St. James takes a 2-1 lead. We need more of that. She floats another one in. That's another ace. I'll take it. And I'm going to say we need more of that just to keep it rolling. St. James now with a 3-1 lead over the Hornets. Poundstone serving for the Trojans. She floats another one into the middle of the Hornet defense. We got a free ball coming to St. James, pushed up by Olsey. She gets it to Poundstone. Oh, that was set up nicely. Back over to Olsey, but she didn't get it over the net and hit it into the net. That's an attack error, but that was a nice setup. St. James holding on still to a 1-point lead. The score St. James 3, Beauregard 2. Number 15 for Beauregard serving hits the net, played up by Kathleen Wright. She gets it over to Ellie Streeton. That's a kill for Ellie Streeton down the right side. St. James with a side out and a 4-2 lead now. Number 17, Ellie Streeton back serving for the Trojans. St. James with a 4-2 lead. She floats it over to the right side, pushes the Hornets set up their offense. Ball's rolled over, saved by Bailey Williams over to Carson Ann Crow. Point for St. James. That's a kill for Carson Ann Crow. Streeton serving for St. James with a 5-2 lead. She hits it back in the back row of the Hornet defense. They set up their attack. That ball's way out of bounds. Attack error by the Hornets gives St. James a 6-2 lead. Streeton still back serving for St. James. She hit the tape and then down on the St. James side. Service error for St. James gives Beauregard a side out with St. James holding on to a 3-point lead now. The score, St. James 6, Beauregard 3. Lacey Brown, number 6, comes in for Ellie Streeton on the back row. That ball's out. Service error by Beauregard gives St. James a 7-3 lead. Lucy Edwards, number 3, comes in for Kathleen Wright and will be serving for St. James. Edwards floats one into the middle of the Hornet defense. They set up their attack. Ball's rolled over. Oh, nice try by Lucy Edwards to dig it up, but the ball hit the court for St. James. Point for Beauregard with St. James now holding on to a 3-point lead. And the score, St. James 7, Beauregard 4. Number 32 for Beauregard serving to the Trojans. Carson Ann Crow plays the serve, gets it to Poundstone and down. That's a kill for Carson Ann Crow. Poundstone to Crow. They give St. James an 8-4 lead. That's Emily Poundstone's unofficially. That's her 15th assist for this match. Emily Olsey back serving for the Trojans. She floats it to the back left corner. Free ball to St. James. Hustled in, played by Lucy Edwards. Olsey pushes it over to Carson and Crow. The ball's hitting to the net. Very well set up by the Trojans. But point goes to Beauregard. St. James again with a 3-point lead. The score, St. James 8, Beauregard 5. Number 8 for Beauregard serving to the Trojans. Ball's played by Lucy Edwards. She gets it to Olsey. Olsey to Ashley White. She rolls it over the defense. That's a double hit by the Beauregard setter. That's a side out to St. James and a point with St. James leading now 9-5 as Carson Ann Crow, number 13, goes back to serve for St. James. Ellie Streeton, number 17, comes in for Lacey Brown. Carson Ann floats one into the middle of the back row of the Hornets. They set up their attack, played by Emily Olsey. Carson Ann Crow saves it off the rafters and gets it over to Ashley White. Ball's pushed over by the Hornets. Carson Ann Crow gets it to Olsey, back to Ashley White. The Hornets dig it up. We got a free ball now to the St. James. That ball's out of bounds. A free ball hit out of bounds. That's a point for St. James. St. James now with a 10-5 lead as Carson Ann Crow continues to serve for the Trojans. Carson Ann floats one into the back right corner. The Hornets set up their offense. Ball's dug up by Carson Ann. She gets it to Emily Olsey. Olsey gets it over to Ellie Streeton and she pushes it into the net. And that's a side out for Beauregard with St. James holding on to a 4-point lead now. The score, St. James 10, Beauregard 6. Number 21 for Beauregard serving to the Trojans. She serves it in, played by Lucy Edwards. She gets it to Olsey, back to Ashley White. Went off the tip of her finger and out of bounds. Long point to Beauregard. St. James now leading 10-7. Serve coming into the Trojans, played by Lucy Edwards. She gets it to Emily Olsey, back to Bailey Williams on the right side. Ball's hitting to the net. Point for Beauregard. St. James now leading 10-8. Only a 2-point lead by the Trojans. 21 for Beauregard, serving to St. James. Ball comes in, played by Lucy Edwards. She punches it to Olsey. Olsey to Ashley White. She dunks it over the block. That's Ashley White's 10th kill of the match today. Point for St. James, and they lead now 11-8. Mary Julian Setzer, number 1, comes in for Lucy Edwards on the front row. Bailey Williams serving for St. James and hits it wide right and long. Point for Beauregard. Another service error for St. James gives Beauregard a side out. The Trojans leading now 11-9. Number 5 for Beauregard, serving to St. James, played by Carson Crow. Gets it to Olsey. To Ashley White, she tips it over the block. Pushed over the net by Beauregard, gets it Carson Crow to Emily Olsey. Mary Julian Setzer with an attack, and it's long and out of bounds. That's an attack error by the Trojans, giving Beauregard their 10th point. St. James holding on now to a 1-point lead, 11-10. Number 5 for Beauregard, serving to St. James, played by Carson Crow, saved by Bailey Williams, gets it to Setzer. She hits it to the back of the Hornets defense, all blocked at the net. The ball hits the rafters and is called out of bounds. So we're all tied up, folks, just like we started. The score is St. James 11, Beauregard 11. Serve comes in, played by Carson Crow. She gets it to Olsey. Olsey to Ashley White. Ball's out of bounds, long. Beauregard takes a lead in this third set. Beauregard leading St. James 12-11. Number 5 for Beauregard continuing to serve to the Trojans. Serve played by Bailey Williams. She gets it to Olsey. Ellie Streeton pushes the ball over the net. Ashley White saves it. Carson Crow gets it over to Streeton. She hits the net. Dug up by the Hornets. Tipped at the net, played by Bailey Williams. She gets it to Olsey. Olsey to Streeton. Ball's hitting to the net. That's an attack error by St. James, giving Beauregard their 13th point. And Beauregard now with a 2-point lead over the Trojans. Ball comes in, played by Ellie Streeton. She gets it to Olsey. Olsey to Mary Julian Setzer. She pushes it through the block, and that's her first kill of the match. Olsey to Setzer. Gives St. James a side out as they trail by 1. Beauregard 13, St. James 12. Emily Poundstone comes in for Ashley White and serves for the Trojans. She floats one to the back right corner. The Hornets set up their offense. Poundstone takes the receive, gets it to Bailey Williams. Streeton pushes it over. That's a double hit by the Beauregard setter, and that evens the score now. We're evened up at 13 apiece. Poundstone still back serving for St. James. She floats one into the middle of the defense. Overpass played by Bailey Williams. Poundstone pushes over to Streeton. Streeton pushes to the back right. Free ball to St. James played by Bailey Williams. Gives it to Poundstone to Olsey. Oh, it hit a defender and goes up into the rafters. That's Emily Olsey's 4th kill of the match, and that gives St. James a 1-point lead, 14-13. Poundstone floats it down the right line. The Hornets set up their offense. They push it over, played by Carson Crow. She gets it to Poundstone. Back to Setzer on the right side. Attack dug up by the Hornets. Hornets get it over, dug up by Carson Crow. She gets it to Poundstone. Streeton hits it long. That ties the score back up now. The score, St. James 14, Beauregard 14. Number 15 for Beauregard goes back to serve to St. James. Serve comes in, played by Olsey. She pushes it to Poundstone, back to Olsey. She rolls it over the defense, tipped at the net. The Hornets set up their offense, dug up by Carson Crow. She gets it to Poundstone, back to Setzer on the right side, and that's a kill for Mary Julian Setzer. Poundstone to Setzer. St. James takes a 1-point lead, 15-14. Ellie Streeton, number 17, back serving for St. James. Hits the net and falls back onto St. James' side of the court. Another service error for the Trojans. That gives Beauregard a side out in their 15th point, and we're all evened up at 15 apiece. Lacey Brown, number 6, comes in for Ellie Streeton. Number 18, the libero for Beauregard, serving to St. James, played by Bailey Williams. She gets it to Poundstone. Poundstone to Crow. Ball's hitting to the net. Attack error by the Trojans gives Beauregard a 1-point lead now. They lead St. James 16-15. Serve comes in, played by Bailey Williams. She gets it to Poundstone. Poundstone to Olsey, off the block. The Hornets push the ball over, played by Emily Olsey. She gets it to Poundstone, back to Carson Ann Crow, over the block. Almost an overpass, played by Bailey Williams. She gets it to Poundstone, back over to Mary Julian Setzer. Saved by Carson Ann Crow. That's a great play. Bailey Williams gets it over to Setzer. She puts it back in the back left corner. The Hornets dig it up. Poundstone digs it up. Olsey pushes it over to Setzer again. Ball's hitting to the net. That's an attack error by the Trojans, and that gives Beauregard a 2-point lead. They lead the Trojans now 17-15. Serve comes in, played by Carson Ann Crow. Great play. Poundstone pushes it over to Setzer on the right side. Dug up. Olsey saves the overpass, pushes it up to... Ball's hitting to the net by St. James, and that gives Beauregard a 3-point lead now. They lead St. James 18-15. Serve comes in, played by Bailey Williams. Lacey Brown saves it. Olsey hits the ball over. That's a kill. Overhead push by Olsey, and that's her 5th kill. That gives St. James their 16th point now. They trail by 2, 18-16, as Lucy Edwards, number 3, goes back to serve for St. James. Edwards pushes it back to the back left. The Hornets set up their attack. Ball hits the court on St. James' side. That's Beauregard's 19th point, and they lead St. James by 3 now, 19-16. Number 32 for Beauregard, serving to the Trojans. Ball's pushed up, played by Carson Ann Crow. She gets it to Poundstone. Back to Crow in the middle. Carson Ann Crow's 10th kill. Poundstone to Crow. That gives St. James 17. They're still down by 2. The score is 19-17 with Emily Olsey serving for the Trojans. She floats it in, pushed up by the front row. Ball's rolled over, played by Lacey Brown. She gets it to Olsey to Crow. She rolls it over the defense. Ball's out of bounds. Attack error by Beauregard gives St. James their 18th point, and the Trojans trail by 1. Score Beauregard 19, St. James 18. Olsey comes in, floats it barely over the net. That's an ace for Olsey. Perfect timing, Emily, for an ace. That ties the score, 19 apiece. Olsey serving for the Trojans again, barely over the net again. Hornets set up their attack, blocked at the net. The ball lands on St. James' side of the court. Side out to Beauregard. Beauregard with a 20-19 lead over St. James. Number 8 for Beauregard, back serving to the Trojans. She floats it in, played by Carson Ann Crow. She gets it to Olsey, back sets to Crow on the right side. Ball tipped at the net. Back set, roll played by Lucy Edwards. She gets it over to Olsey, Carson Ann Crow. That's a lift. Didn't get called. Carson Ann Crow doing work at the net. Kill by Carson Ann Crow. Nice fire there by Carson Ann, not letting that ball come over to the net. St. James evens it up now at 20. Carson Ann Crow serving for the Trojans. She floats it into the middle of the back row. They set up their attack. It's pushed over, played by Olsey. Lucy Edwards comes in and sets up Ellie Streeton on the left side. The Hornets set up their offense. It's a free ball to St. James. That's way out of bounds. That gives St. James their first lead they've had in a while. The score, St. James 21, Beauregard 20. Carson Ann Crow still serving for the Trojans. She floats it into the right back corner. The Hornets set up their attack. That ball's out of bounds. That's an attack error by Beauregard, and St. James takes a 22-20 lead. Coach for Beauregard calls a timeout. St. James takes a 2-point lead now over the Hornets, 22-20. Time to stretch the legs. All right, we're in the third set now. The score with St. James leading by 2. The score is 22-20. We need 3 points to get out of here and head to the house. The Trojans start on the court after timeout with Ellie Streeton, Bailey Williams, Ashley White, Emily Olsey, Lucy Edwards, and Carson Ann Crow, who will be serving for the Trojans. Carson Ann floats it into the middle of the back row. Ball's pushed up by Olsey. Not sure of what they called, but they called somebody over the line on St. James. So that's a side out and a point for Beauregard, with St. James leading now only by 1. The score, St. James 22, Beauregard 21, as number 21 for Beauregard serves to the Trojans. Played by Carson Ann Crow. She gets it to Olsey. To Ashley White. She dunks it over the defense. That's Ashley White's 11th kill. And St. James' 23rd point. St. James leading 23-21. Bailey Williams serving for the Trojans. Oh, she barely got it over the net. Overpass played by Olsey. Bailey Williams hustles in and gets it over to Ashley White. She punches it down the right line. The Hornets set up their offense. And the ball goes into the net. We're at set point, folks, with Bailey Williams serving for the Trojans for the set and the match. The score, 24-21. Come on, Bailey. Nice serve. She pushes it to the net. Oh, that's a double hit. That was a great serve by Bailey, getting the ball, putting pressure on the defense. St. James wins the third and final set over Beauregard, 25-21. The Trojans won the first set 25-15, the second set 25-9, and the third set 25-21. That makes St. James 5-0 in area play, and we will play Brew Tech at home on Thursday. See you then, Trojans.